In the first quarter, we looked at the time period from 1460 to 1865. I chose to do my first quarter project on the trial of trails. President Andrew Jackson's forced removal of Native Americans from their tribal lands east of the Mississippi. Jackson wanted these lands to expand cotton plantations. He believed in manifest destiny that the white man must settle and control all of the lands from ocean to ocean across American land. He insisted that it was the white man's duty to do so. Half a million, half a million Cherokees and Seminoles were relocated to reservations west of the Mississippi River, beginning reservation life. Native Americans lost over 90 million acres of tribal land east of the Mississippi River. The forced migration led to miles of starvation, abuse, freezing weather, disease, and death. These policies led to drastic lifestyle changes for Native people, creating a negative impact on their overall well being and loss of traditions, traditional food, and Native culture. The long reaching impact today is the prevalence of obesity in Native populations, type 2 diabetes, alcoholism, and mental illness. For centuries, Native people lived close to the earth, growing their own foods, raising their own livestock, growing their own herbs, creating their own medicine, hunting, preparing, and preserving their own sources of protein and living in harmony with nature. Reservation life changed all of that. This time in history represents a genocide on American soil. Westward expansion robbed Native lands from their rightful stewards. Native people believing land could not be owned but cared for and passed to the next generation. This genocide was a choice and done deliberately to steal land. All of the moments in history we studied, our choices defined what happened, and our responses defined the impact of our choices. During this pandemic, Native populations have been vaccinating those who can still speak Native languages first in an attempt to preserve the remains of their culture, recognizing that less than 2% of today's US population are traditional Native Americans. However, distrust of the government and Western medicine have made it difficult to convince some Native Americans of the safety of the vaccine.